down that has been designed to calcify our pineal gland. So I strongly believe in this product. All three of them are in stock. And the most powerful one, of course, is the Immuno. Now, there is that special. It's been going on for months, and it's still going on. 5 for the price of 3, or, of course, 3 for the price of 2. The link is always in the description, and I believe that my moderator sometimes puts it in the chat. So quick reminder, get your body detox through nature's holistic way, all right? Folium. Let's see. Oh, a quick thank you to Candy Varnum and Mary Rose. Thank you so much for your contributions. And I also wanted to thank my moderators for keeping the chat in a high vibe. Thank you guys so much. So upon request, guys, let's learn about what the 3 days of darkness is, according to Galactic records and as confirmed through the ancient esoteric knowledge. All right, well, first of all, we have to understand that the way the universe operates is it is a revolution within revolutions within revolutions. So just like our planets revolve around our star, in like manner, our star revolves around a greater star known as Alcyone within a revolution of 25,600 years or so, to be exact, which gives rise to the phenomena of the photon belt. Now, the photon belt has become one of the most discussed modern day concepts in our spiritual community and, of course, in Ascension teachings. Because let's be real here, through mainstream astronomy, all right, they don't recognize the photon belt as a scientific structure, even though the evidence is there, okay? So the concept has persisted for decades within the esoteric circles, channeling traditions, and of course, our cosmic spiritual movement that is now taking place. Thank God. This concept is sometimes described as a massive band of highly charged photonic or electromagnetic energy that is associated with the Pleiades central sun known as Alcyone, which is where our solar system revolves in a cycle of 25,600 years. So this happens multiple times. In fact, there is records, according to the Cosmic Archives, that our solar system has, in fact, completed 52 revolutions where it has gone through ages of light, golden ages, followed by ages of darkness, right, as we are further from the photon belt. And then as we emerge back into the photon belt, gaining or once again experiencing the ages of light. So this is all part of a periodic travel during vast galactic cycles. Now, within metaphysical teachings, the photon belt is an astronomical event, rather a catalyst for a transformational field of consciousness across our entire solar system, known as a cosmic mechanism that is designed to accelerate spiritual evolution, awaken dormant DNA potential, and of course, shift civilizations from the lower states of awareness into higher dimensions of existence. Now, these ideas became very popular through the writings of Sheldon Neidl and Virginia Essene back in the 1990s. That's when I believe the phenomena of the photon belt first became introduced to the limelight. And they did describe that humanity was entering a galactic initiation that is tied to the cycles of light and consciousness. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, how does this pertain to the 3 days of darkness? Well, I'm going to get to that point in a little bit. Not to mention, I'm going to be also going some of the suppressed history regarding the origins of Nibiru. And this is what Sakkara Sitchin and the Sumerian tablets didn't discuss. So we're going to go deep once again. All right. So according to this, Earth is currently transitioning through the end of a great stellar cycle that is linked to the position of the equinoxes, which is roughly, again, about a 25,625-year cycle, to be exact, recognized in astronomy and, of course, ancient civilizations alike. Despite the fact that conventional astronomy is not really showing us any data regarding this phenomena, but again, thanks to the secret knowledge that was preserved by the White Brotherhood of the White Lotus, right? This information is now circulating once again in the limelight. Many esoteric traditions interpret this cycle as humanity's passage through the different ages of consciousness. The end of one cycle and, of course, the beginning of another is believed to coincide with increased solar activity, which is what's happening right now according to solar weather. And with that comes what? Energetic shifts and a profound transformation in human awareness. So, ancient civilizations, such as the Maya, who, by the way, were never extinct. The Mayans were so spiritually advanced that they literally translated from one level of reality into a higher level of reality, thus disappearing from the 3D Earth. That's what happened to the Mayan culture, by the way. All right, so even according to the Egyptians, the Hopi, and various Vedic traditions, they all spoke about recurring cosmic ages in which humanity would periodically rise or fall spiritually, depending on its alignment with higher cosmic laws. So, in modern metaphysical interpretations, the photon belt has become a symbolic explanation for these ancient prophecies, which is what they called a galactic wave of light that activates consciousness on a planetary scale, thus explaining, of course, the mass ascension that is going to be initiated through critical mass. Well, one of the central ideas connected to the photon belt, as preserved by the Galactic records, is literally, guys, the transformation of our sun itself. Well, in many ascension teachings, as preserved by the secret societies of the benevolent orders, the sun is viewed as a conscious stellar being evolving through the different cycles of its own energetic refinement. Well, within this belief system, our sun is said to be transitioning from a yellow lower frequency star into a higher frequency white or crystalline star. This widening of the sun, many people are already been witnessing it, is literally interpreted symbolically by spiritual communities as evidence that our entire solar system is in fact entering a more denser field of photonic energy. Well, this explains the harmonic convergence of 1987, right? As revealed by Jose Arguelles, the Mayan scholar. Well, supporters of this idea often point to the increasingly intense brightness of sunlight, unusual solar activity, sunspots, huge sunspots, and heightened solar cycles as signs of an energetic upgrade that is literally occurring within the sun itself. All right, so even the sun is going through some sort of metamorphosis. Well, according to these teachings, the sun literally is the transmitter of these higher frequencies, and it has been since the beginning of our solar system. It is the transmitter of these higher frequencies into the Earth's electromagnetic field, affecting biological systems, emotional states, dreams, intuition, and of course, collective consciousness at large. Well, the concept is closely tied to Ascension teachings, claiming that humanity is moving from a carbon-based state of consciousness into a more refined energetic state, thus activating our crystalline DNA. Well, this happens every 25,000 years. This is described as the activation of dormant strands of DNA, heightened intuition, and of course, expanded psychic perception, not to mention the awakening of the pineal gland, which is referred to as what? the third eye, right? Well, within these preserved teachings, solar flares are not just your typical physical eruptions, but technically, guys, they are carriers of encoded information, waves of consciousness intended to accelerate human awakening. As the sun passes through this high frequency region, as it does every 25,000 years or so of space, it transmits increasingly powerful energetic impulses into the Earth's magnetic field, thus explaining the weakening of the old electromagnetic field. Well, this is where the prophecy of the two suns emerges. Many ancient traditions spoke of a future time in which two suns would appear in the heavens before a great purification or transformation of Earth. Well, similarly, imagery appears in the Hopi prophecies, apocalyptic traditions, which really means revelation, and of course, modern Nibiru, new surfacing data. Well, in metaphysical interpretations, this prophecy is linked to the return of Nibiru, known by multiple names, right? The mysterious celestial body that is associated with the ancient Mesopotamia legends and, of course, later the esoteric teachings. Well, some believe that Nibiru is a rogue planet, a brown dwarf companion or interdimensional object connected to cyclical resets in human civilization, while others have interpreted it symbolically as a returning cosmic force representing karmic reckoning and transformation. Well, according to Ascension teachings, as preserved by the White Brotherhood of the Melchizedek Order, the appearance of two suns is described as the visual manifestation of Nibiru entering Earth's visible skies, while our sun simultaneously intensifies during the solar transition. The symbolism of the two suns is actually deeply embedded in esoteric philosophy as well, for those that have studied esoteric philosophy. One sun represents the old world, right? Signified by the lower frequencies of fear, separation, and materialism, and of course, control. The other second sun represents awakening, consciousness, divine remembrance, and the birth of a higher civilization. The crossing of these two energies symbolizes the splitting of timelines. I talked about the trifurcation many of times. Well, here's more evidence. Frequently discussed, of course, in Ascension, what we call circles. Well, some prophetic teachings combined these ideas with the concept of the 3 days of darkness. Well, in this context, the 3 days of darkness is not a physical, it's actually an energetic, a transitional phase in which Earth undergoes a reset of frequencies while the old systems collapse, including our declining electromagnetic field. And I think I've mentioned this before, which will require, as our bodies become adjusted to the new frequencies, 3 days of rest and 3 days of no sunlight, no electricity, right? Grid shutdown, all of that. That is the significance of the 3 days of darkness. It is the in-between point as our world enters or leaves one age to enter a new world age reality. 3 days of darkness, okay? Which is not to be confused with 10 days of darkness. 10 days of darkness is a Alliance White initiative through Project Odin to, of course, completely disable the old grid and initiate the new quantum freedom grid, right? That is the difference, my friends. All right, let's continue here. So, in this transitional phase in which the Earth is once again poised, right, of entering this vast monastic field, Many people have described this period as occurring when our sun has fully emerged into the densest region of the photon belt, producing electromagnetic disturbances, disruptions to technological systems, and of course, shifts in human consciousness where humanity will need to rest for 3 days consecutively, as mentioned, right? The 3 days of darkness as they become adjusted to the new frequencies of the higher dimensional Earth reality, which, by the way, is already coexisting with this reality, but in a higher dimension. And for those that are unaware, according to superposition, thanks to quantum physics, all dimensions are superimposed, all occupying the same space at the same time, but what separates them is the vibrational frequency, right? Thus giving us the different layers of reality. All right, let's continue. So in many esoteric teachings, this transitional period is also viewed as a purification cycle. It's never seen as an ending of the world, okay? That is a fear-based mentality. It is called a purification cycle, where humanity is believed to be confronted with unresolved shadow aspects individually and collectively before entering a stasis period of 3 days and, of course, waking up in a higher layer of civilization. It is important to distinguish between metaphysical belief systems and, of course, established scientific astronomy, which is completely trying to debunk the reason why there are climate change that is not only taking place here on the Earth, but all throughout our solar system. And I'll describe that in a little bit, right? They are blaming it on what they called global warming, which is, again, a psyop, right? Let's just be real here. There is no global warming. What's happening is that our solar system is entering this high frequency band that is connected to the central sun of the Pleiades, that is in turn connected to the great core, the central sun of our galaxy. And of course, it's also connected to the returning of Nibiru, which is, by the way, going to become our second sun. And I'll explain that in a little bit. So, as I speak right now, unfortunately, conventional science and mainstream institutions refuse to acknowledge the larger cosmic implications of these changes, right? They, again, are attributing all planetary transformation to climate change, greenhouse gases, and industrial activity. That is not the case, my friends. That is not the case, okay? According to what's really happening right now, global warming is being viewed as the primary cause of Earth's transformation, which is, again, a psyop, but as one visible symptom of a much larger cosmic event that is also including anomalies that are, or these anomalous phenomena are also occurring on all the planets within our solar system. And I believe David Wilcock talked about this as well. All right, well, the argument is that our sun, our planets, magnetic fields, and even human consciousness are all responding simultaneous to an incoming wave of higher frequency energy moving through our region of the galaxy. Our entire solar system is moving through a higher frequency within the region of this galaxy. Now, this idea is pointing to several unusual developments that are occurring across our entire solar systems over the recent decades. They have noted increased solar flare intensifying, shifting magnetic poles, unusual atmospheric changes on neighboring planets, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn. It's happening on all the planets, my friends. So are they also going through some sort of global warming? No. All right, let's just be real here. So there's this unusual atmospheric change that is happening within our solar system that is also intensifying auroras, that is disrupting the Earth's current electromagnetic field, as there is scientific evidence that it's been in decline. And of course, it is increasing the Schumann resonance, right? We used to be at 7.8, and now the Schumann resonance has climbed to, I would have to say, a good 12.9, almost at 13.0, which means that's when the shift, right, of ages takes place. Once we reach the Schumann resonance at 13.0 cycles. All right, so within this context, these are interpreted, all of these anomalies are interpreted as evidence that the entire heliosphere is entering a more energized region in space. While recent suppressed reports of atmospheric warnings or energetic changes have been observed on planets such as Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, and of course Uranus as possible indicators that a larger solar-wide process is unfolding at this time. So it's not just pertaining to the Earth, right? This is a solar-wide phenomena. Now, mainstream astronomy explains these changes through natural planetary cycles and localized atmospheric dynamics. But according to the esoteric, which is corroborated by the higher galactic teachings, the evidence of a collective vibrational escalation affecting our entire solar system is what is happening right now. Now, according to the records of Alcyon, which is the central sun of the Pleiades, this increase in energy is described as a rise in frequency and vibration that is not only taking place within our solar system, but that is also taking place within the other 52 star nations that are part of our local star cluster. So it has been revealed that in 2012, I think it was Proxima Centauri underwent its solar flash, right? We are next. The idea is rooted in the belief that all matter ultimately consists of vibrating energy fields. Now, this is the science behind this, right? This idea that is rooted in a belief that all matter ultimately consists of vibrating energy fields and that consciousness itself operates through frequency. So as the solar system moves deeper into this photonic region, everything exposed to it is believed to undergo acceleration, not only physically, as well as emotionally, mentally, and of course, spiritually. You guys see, the sun plays a central role in this transformation that is happening right now throughout our local stellar cluster, okay? In metaphysical circles, our sun is described as a giant consciousness transmitting portal converting incoming galactic energies into frequencies capable of transforming biological and planetary systems. This explains why solar flares and coronal mass ejections are not just random eruptions when you really think about it, right? They're actually encoded waves carrying higher dimensional information into the Earth's energetic field. Now, this concept is symbolized through the idea that our sun is becoming brighter, wider, and more electrically charged. Well, explaining that huge coronal hole, right? It's just increasing. Well, it's because the sun's frequency is rising. In Ascension teachings, this white sun transformation has been interpreted as evidence that the sun itself is evolving into a higher frequency stellar state as it absorbs increasing levels of photonic energy. However, the photon belt continues to resonate because it provides a structure through which many people interpret rapid global change, technological transformation, ecological instability, and of course, the growing sense that humanity is approaching a major turning point in history. So whether you guys want to view this literally or symbolically or even psychologically, the truth of the matter is that the photon belt represents humanity's enduring desire to connect cosmic cycles with inner evolution. It also reflects an ancient archetype that has been repeated all throughout history, and that is the belief that periods of darkness are followed by periods of illumination, and that civilizations periodically undergo profound transformations aligned with the stars themselves. And again, a lot of this information will be restored as part of the great reveal back to the earth. For thousands of years, humanity has preserved within all the myths, within all the prophecies, and even the celestial legends describing the return of a mysterious heavenly body known by many names across different cultures and eras, right? In ancient Mesopotamia, they called it Nibiru. In later prophetic traditions, they associate it with the return of Wormwood, Nemesis, according to modern scientific interpretations, or Planet X, the Red Star, the Destroyer, and of course, our second son. Well, through interpreted, let me repeat that again. Though interpreted differently throughout history, these legends all point towards the entire, or what we call the same celestial archetype. And that is that the return of a celestial force or body that is tied to the transformation on earth and the ending of a great cosmic cycle. Within modern restored teachings, the return of Nibiru is no longer viewed as a rogue planet that is entering our inner solar system to bring destruction. That is fear-based porn. Let's just be real, okay? Instead, excuse me, a growing esoteric perspective suggests that humanity will be witnessing the completion of a vast 3,600-year cycle that is also connected to a 25,000-year cycle, and that is furthermore connected to even a greater cycle known as the Galactic cycle. Now, I don't have time to go over the different cycles beyond the 25,000-year Platonic year cycle. I think I'll do that in a different presentation. So, this cycle, the 25,000-year cycle and the 3,600-year cycle, as it indicates the return of Nibiru, is one that could actually permanently alter the architecture of our solar system itself, because according to the Council of Alcyon, the central sun of the Pleiades, our solar system is about to ascend, triggering the ending of a designed 206 million year cycle. And of course, as a result of that, the fixed 3,600 year elliptical Nibiru orbit is now going to be fixed as our second sun, with more planets in and around our heliosphere. And when you guys really think about it, for those that have taken our Cosmic Origin course, Nibiru has always been known as the 12th planet within our solar system. Now, the difference now is that because we have completed so many cycles, Nibiru is no longer going to leave our solar system. It is coming to stay. It is coming as our second sun. In other words, Nibiru this time is not just going to be passing by anymore, as it has been 100,000, perhaps even a few million times before in prior cycles. But this time, my friends, according to the Alcyon archives, Nibiru is going to become our second sun, making our solar system a binary star system once again, as it was in its original design. Have you guys ever heard of the prophecy of the second sun, right? Or the idea that perhaps our solar system is part of a binary star system, right? All right, let's continue. Now, according to the records of Alcyon, the central sun of our local star cluster, Nibiru is a dormant stellar companion or a brown dwarf-like celestial object that is moving in an immense elliptical orbit around our sun. According to ancient Sumerian traditions, they have described it as a wandering celestial body connected to the Anunnaki and cyclical periods of upheaval, renewal, and accelerated evolution. Now, over time, that myth evolved into prophecies describing a future age in which the wanderer star, Nibiru, would return once again to become our second sun. This is fascinating. But unlike previous cycles, as mentioned, the Galactic Alliance has confirmed that this time the return will not result in a catastrophic intersolar system passage, right? It's not going to whack us. Like many people say, oh, it's going to whack us. It's going to cause, earth changes. No, guys, don't listen to those false prophecies. Instead, Nibiru is believed to be approaching the outer region near the orbits of the jovial planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and of course, Neptune, or it will eventually stabilize into a long-term companion position along our sun. And this has been confirmed by the Galactic Alliance. All right. In this view, guys, the solar system, our solar system, is not destined for destruction. It is destined for what? For transformation. All right. So this marks the core of the two suns prophecy as preserved through the secret knowledge. Ancient cultures across the world preserved legends describing a future time when humanity would witness two suns in the heavens before the birth of a new world age. Similarly, imagery appears in the Hopi prophecy, including the last book of the Bible, the book of the Apocalypse, as well as the Hindu cosmology, and of course, through the esoteric mystery school teachings preserved through the Great White Brotherhood. While mainstream interpretations view this story as symbolic, modern metaphysical teachings that are supported by interstellar archives connect these stories directly to the return of the second sun, Nibiru. Now, according to these teachings, Nibiru's immense elliptical orbit is finally nearing completion after, of course, perhaps millions of years. Once its trajectory stabilizes near the outer planetary system, our sun and Nibiru will be functioning as a binary stellar pair, restoring what the same esoteric traditions described as the original configuration of our solar system before the ancient cosmic disruptions fragmented it eons ago. Well, in astronomy, the binary star systems are more common throughout the galaxy. Many stars exist in pairs, and this is now being proven through mainstream astronomy, despite the fact that they are neglecting what's happening here in our solar system. So, as mentioned, many stars within our galaxy are in pairs, and some of them are even part of a multi-star configuration. Well, metaphysical interpretations have built upon this scientific reality by suggesting that our solar system may once again have possessed a second stellar companion that was later displaced or entered an elongated dormant orbit after ancient cosmic events. Now, in a little bit, I'm going to explain why Nibiru was programmed to only come into our solar system every 3,600 years. You guys are going to be blown away. And of course, for those that have taken our cosmic origin class, you guys know the true history of Nibiru, okay? Within these preserved teachings, Nibiru's return represents the restoration of cosmic balance. Esoteric traditions have claimed that this binary alignment will dramatically amplify the energetic forces throughout our entire solar system. The combined electromagnetic and gravitational influence of these two stellar bodies is believed to trigger major transformation, not only within the physical sense, but within consciousness itself. The return of the second sun is said to intensify the effects of the photon belt, increasing solar radiation frequencies, and accelerate to the awakening process occurring within humanity. And this is why I always tell you guys, we are still on a steady, positive timeline trajectory. This is all prophecy, guys. The original prophecies. Some Ascension teachings describe this period as the ending of the age of forgetfulness, right? Which is a long cycle in which humanity becomes disconnected from higher consciousness, well, technically disconnected from their higher self, and trapped within a system of limitation, fear, and materialism. The appearance of the second sun, therefore, becomes more than an astronomical event because it now symbolizes the restoration of cosmic memory. How many of you guys would love to get all your memories back from all your lifetimes, who you were as a galactic being before participating in the Starseed Envoy program? Leave it in the chat. Yeah, we all want it back, right? We all want those cosmic memories. Well, this is why many metaphysical researchers nowadays connect the return of Nibiru with the activation of dormant DNA, right? The rise of meta-humans. According to these teachings, guys, human DNA functions. You guys are going to love this, all right? Check this out. Our human DNA, right, functions beyond biology, as it is also energetic, responding to stellar frequencies and, of course, cosmic cycles. Therefore, the increase in frequencies, solar activity observed in recent years is interpreted as evidence that our sun is already undergoing energetic transformation as it interacts with this denser region of galactic energy that has been known as the photon belt. That is how our cosmic memories return, through the activation of dormant DNA. There is this thing called cellular memory. And that cellular memory is, I believed, contained within the other 97, 96% of our untapped genetic material, which is for the most part crystalline in nature. So as Nibiru returns, it will be stabilizing near the outer solar system. It will begin emitting frequencies that interact both with our sun and the Earth's electromagnetic grid. And this creates what some would call the Great Quickening. I believe it's already happening. There are many pictures of two suns that a lot of people are posting on social media. Have you guys ever seen those pictures of the two suns? Well, all of that is an indicator that a period of accelerated awakening is happening right now on Earth. Emotional purging is a byproduct of that, and of course, leading to spiritual transformation. In this context, the chaos that we are seeing across all global systems is actually reflecting the collapsing of the old energetic structures that were maintained by the current electromagnetic field that is now in decline, which are now unstable to sustain the incoming frequencies that are associated with the new stellar alignment. And this is also where the prophecies of the 3 days of darkness comes into play. It is intimately connected with the return of the second sun. Now, certain interpretations have claimed that during this transition into the binary stellar system, Earth will temporarily pass through a highly charged electromagnetic region that is generated by the interaction between our sun, Nibiru, and the photon belt. Well, this will create temporary disruptions in the Earth's magnetic field It will also cause atmospheric conditions, communication systems fail, and even human perception. It will shift human perception. Now, the darkness, according to the secret prophecies, the 3 days of darkness is therefore interpreted as a threshold between worlds, the final collapsing of one age before the stabilization of another. Within esoteric symbolism, the first sun represents the old cycle of separation consciousness, while the second sun represents the return of unity consciousness, which is the meaning of the second coming of Christ. See, a lot of religious people are still under the false interpretation that there will be a physical second coming of one person in the clouds. No, no, no. The truth of the matter is, as preserved through the secret knowledge, the second coming of Christ has a lot to do with the return of a mass accelerated human consciousness on a mass scale that is going to be precipitated by three things: Nibiru, our sun, and the photon belt. That is the real meaning of the second coming of Christ. It is the coming of Christ consciousness to the masses. Now, some teachings even go further, claiming that the restoration of this binary solar system fulfills an ancient galactic prophecy that has been spoken about and preserved within the mystery school teachings and, of course, across cosmic traditions throughout millions of years. According to these stories, Earth was always destined to evolve into a higher frequency civilization. Once that second sun returned to its rightful place among the outer planets. And so in this final stage of the cycle, humanity stands between two worlds: the collapsing structure of the old timeline that is being held by this electromagnetic field that is now weakening, and it has been, and the emergence of a new stellar era. Now, whether we want to interpret this as symbolic, myth, or even metaphysical, the story of Nibiru reflects humanity's enduring, fascinating within cosmic cycles and transformation. Fascination, rather. I said that wrong. So that is the truth of the matter, right? This is the story of Nibiru reflecting our fascination with cosmic cycles and transformation. Now, the prophecy of the second sun is also a deeper archetype that after ages of darkness, fragmentation, and forgetfulness that lasts for a period of about 10,000 years, for those that have studied the stellar activation cycles, humanity may once again connect with a larger cosmic order and rediscover its place among the stars. All right, let's go over the history of Nibiru. A lot of people are still confused. They still think that Nibiru is still under the control of the negative Anunnaki, the NAA, negative alien agenda. It is not, okay? In the deeper layers of esoteric and galactic history, Nibiru is described as a wandering planet, but also as an ancient engineered world. Yeah, it is an engineered world, right? For those that have taken my cosmic origin class, you know that Nibiru was made out of a remnant chunk when the Lyran planet Avion blew up. All right, so it is a piece of the original Earth Avion, as to why now it is connected to our solar system. So this massive celestial vessel that was engineered by the Guardian Alliance was created long before recorded human history. Now, this is what Saqqara Sitchin and the Sumerian tablets fail to explain because they don't have access to this galactic history. According to this interpretation, Nibiru was originally designed by the Syrian High Council as a Battlestar planet, a living interstellar command center capable of traversing enormous distances across the Milky Way while monitoring the evolutionary processes of hundreds of thousands of civilizations. Now, these teachings reveal that Nibiru's origin is traceable back to Sirius star system, which is one of the most spiritually significant stellar regions within our galaxy. Now, Sirius has also been revered by the ancient Egyptians, by the Dogon tribe, by the Mayans, and of course the numerous mystery school teachings as the spiritual sun behind our sun, a gateway of higher wisdom and cosmic convergence. Now, within this galactic revelation, the Syrian High Council is portrayed as one of the oldest guardian alliances in our region of the galaxy that was tasked with overseeing the development of emerging worlds and maintaining balance throughout vast sectors of the Milky Way. According to this revelation, Nibiru was not built as a weapon of conquest. It was actually built as a mobile guardian world, an advanced biosphere capable of sustaining civilizations, storing cosmic archives, and of course, acting as a stabilizing force during major evolutionary cycles. Now, its enormous elliptical orbit was intentionally programmed to cross approximately 3,600 years, right? That's what it's known as, a span of approximately 3,600 years, allowing it to travel between Sirius, where it originated, where it was engineered, and reaching our solar system within the outer layers of our galaxy, or the outer space arms, swirling arms, while passing hundreds of thousands of solar systems along the way. That's fascinating, right, guys? That's why you guys should all take my class or Cosmic Origin to go into the entire cosmic history of all of this. Now, rather than orbiting only one star like a traditional planet, Nibiru was tasked to function as a part vessel, part world, and part energetic relay station. Well, as it traveled through deep space, it transmitted encoded frequencies, it monitored dimensional gateways, and it maintained contact between interstellar civilizations that were spread across more than over 200,000 star systems. Within this context, the return cycles of Nibiru were never intended to bring destruction. Remember, when the negative faction of the Anunnaki took over the affairs of our world, they rewrote all the records, including tampering with the Sumerian tablets. That's why I don't take the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, literally. No, they were all tampered with. All right? Now, they were designed, Nibiru that is, were designed to coincide with periods of accelerated evolution, moments when civilizations approach key thresholds in consciousness and required guidance or energetic recalibration. However, according to these same traditions, secret traditions, thanks to the indigenous people whose records were not tampered with, Nibiru's history became deeply entangled in the ancient galactic conflicts described in galactic history as the Orion Wars, or of course the Galactic Rebellion against the one infinite creator. And again, for those of you that are interested in a thorough, detailed explanation of the Orion Wars, the Lyran Wars, the Mars Maldekian Wars, and even further beyond that, the Electrical Wars, the Wars of the Elohim, wars that were translated from other universes, take my course, Our Cosmic Origin. It is mind expanding. All right, let's continue here. According to these teachings, At some point in antiquity, the Draco Empire, portrayed in esoteric lore as a highly hierarchical reptilian imperial force, began infiltrating strategic regions of the galaxy in an effort to dominate major stellar gateways and energetic trade routes. Well, over time, factions aligned with the Draco gained influence over a portion of Nibiru's leadership structure, gradually transforming parts of the once guardian world into an instrument of control and manipulation. Now, there's been several times when the negative ETs have infiltrated Nibiru and have taken over it, right? To give you guys one example, before Anu became the prime commander of the Nibirian Council, after he was overthrown by his grandson Marduk 3,600 years ago, but Anu, for hundreds of thousands of years, perhaps even a couple million years, was the main commander. Prior to him being the commander, he actually had a wrestle with a distant cousin who carried a high concentration of draconian DNA, who went by the name of Alalu. Alalu was once the commander of Nibiru in favor of the Draconian Empire. Can you guys imagine during that period, right? There was a huge backset when it came to the Galactic Wars. The Federation began to lose big time under Nibiru's control, right, when Alalu took over. And then, therefore, Anu had to wrestle Alalu and defeat him, and then, therefore, castrating him so that bloodline won't continue, so that Nibiru could be restored and once again be in service to the one infinite creator. Now, that happened several times throughout the galactic history. The most recent time, of course, was in 3600 BC when Marduk, Belial, the Babylonian chief god, son of Enki, Poseidon, overthrew Anu by brewing an army of clones on the deserted planet Mars. And that's how Nibiru was recently hijacked by the negative Anunnaki. All right, let's continue here. So, thank you. Luckily, Marduk was forced to step down from Nibiru as of 2003. Okay, according to my sources, Nibiru is now back in favor of the light. All right, let's continue here. So, this infiltration reached its peak approximately 3,600 years ago, BC, during the rise of course, Marduk, the Babylonian chief god. According to ancient Mesopotamian mythology, Marduk appears as a powerful deity associated with kingship, war, as he is the god of war, right, represented by Mars, and cosmic authority. Well, Marduk was also, he had a stronghold on Mars as to why he was able to secretly create an army of clones that he used to overthrow Anu and Enlil, who held the title of the 50, right, which means supreme commanders of the Nibirian Council. Well, in later esoteric interpretations and backed by galactic real history, Marduk became, of course, the recent Draco-aligned ruler who seized control of Nibiru during one of its return cycles to the Earth region of space, which took place 3,600 years ago. Under this revelation, or under this context, rather, Marduk used Nibiru's advanced technologies and influence over early civilizations to establish systems of hierarchy, fear, and separation consciousness throughout the ancient world. And this is when we fell into the Dark Ages, right? Now, many metaphysical teachings have linked this period to the corruption of humanity's original spiritual knowledge, which corresponds to the rise of organized religions. Now, according to this revelation, guys, advanced teachings that were once shared openly with humanity became distorted, right? There was an infiltration of the ancient mystery school teachings, and it all went into a system of control eventually giving rise to priesthoods, bloodline dynasties, and centralized empires that disconnected humanity from its cosmic origins. According to this revelation, the long cycle of human amnesia, which is what is referred to as the age of forgetfulness, began during the era of Draco influence over Nibiru. Yet the story does not end there. And again, I will take super chats at the end of the presentation. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. According to modern Ascension narratives, major shifts began occurring behind the scenes during the late 20th century as various Guardian Alliance moved to reclaim key energetic structures within the solar system. Now, these revelations believe that by the early 2000s, the Syrian High Council and allied interstellar groups had successfully weakened the remaining Draco influence connected to Nibiru. In other words, that was when Marduk, the son of Enki Poseidon, was forced to step down, approximately around the year 2003. Now, as a result of this, guys, a pivotal turning point happened around 2003, okay? And that was when Marduk, according to the restored records, was forced to step down from authority following larger galactic interventions that were tied to the changing cycles of our solar system. Now, from that point forward, Nibiru, as of 2003, is believed to have gradually returned to its original purpose as a guardian world aligned once again with the Syrian councils. So the years following 2003 apparently marked the beginning of a massive energetic preparation phase for the Earth's ascension cycle. Nibiru's return is therefore interpreted as the restoration of an ancient cosmic order as it moves towards stabilization near the outer regions of our solar system, where many believe its frequencies are once again being synchronized with the evolutionary processes that is unfolding on the Earth right now. The reactivation of Nibiru under Syrian guidance is coinciding with several interconnected transformations. The first one is this mass awakening of dormant DNA and human consciousness. The second one, the acceleration of solar activity and, of course, photonic frequencies. The third one, the dismantling of the old systems based on fear and control. The fourth one, the activation of the Earth's ancient energetic grid systems, the real crystalline living grid. And last but not least, the fifth one, the emergence of humanity into galactic awareness. Okay, these are all indicators that Nibiru is once again being guided by the Syrian High Council, and it's returning. So the appearance of the second son also fulfills not only ancient prophecy, but the original mission of Nibiru itself. And that is what? To assist civilizations during periods of planetary ascension and transition into higher states of consciousness. The Syrian High Council is therefore portrayed as preparing both Earth and the wider solar system, referring to our solar system, for entry into a new evolutionary epoch. Nibiru's final return cycle is seen as the closing of an ancient galactic chapter and the reopening of humanity's connection to the stars. Now, overall, guys, whether we want to view this as a metaphor or as a cosmic allegory, these stories reflect humanity's ongoing attempt to understand its place within a larger universe filled with cycles, mysteries, and of course, the timeless hope of spiritual transformation. I do want to welcome all 3,100 people that are in the house. Thank you guys so much for being here. Now, before I end, I do want to share that according to the galactic records within our sector of our galaxy, Nibiru became more than just a wandering world or celestial guardian station. It also became the vessel through which many esoteric traditions described as the carrier of the galactic royal blood, which, of course, was carried over into the evolutionary story of the Earth. Let me explain this. Okay, within these teachings, the lineage connected to Sirius B is regarded as one of the oldest and most spiritually refined bloodlines in this sector of the universe that is associated with earthly royalty that originated following the devastating wars of Lyra, and as revealed in our galactic history, higher consciousness, and the preservation of divine genetic blueprints. Okay? Ancient cultures across the world have always venerated Sirius. We all know that. The Egyptians aligned their temples and pyramids with Sirius, calling it the Star of Isis and the celestial gateway of rebirth. The Dogon tribe of Mali preserved detailed oral traditions about Sirius B long before modern telescopes confirmed its existence. Mystery schools throughout history refer to Sirius as the spiritual sun behind our visible sun, a source of cosmic wisdom and, of course, initiation. Now, within modern galactic mythologies and ascension teachings, Sirius B is also described as the seat of an ancient royal guardian lineage whose purpose was to preserve what is called the original human divine template, which is a genetic and spiritual blueprint capable of embodying higher consciousness while remaining fully connected to source and in physical form. According to these traditions, long before Earth fell into cycles of conflict and amnesia, advanced human civilizations that originated from Lyra and Sirius seeded worlds throughout this region of the galaxy, including the Pleiades. Well, these beings that we know as the Anunnaki, the Lyran Syrian Anunnaki, right? The good Anunnaki, not to be later confused with the corrupted factions associated with domination and empire, but the original uncorrupted branches who carried knowledge of sacred science, harmonic architecture, and of course, spiritual evolution to the earth. Now, in this context, the word Anunnaki originally did not mean conquerors or tyrants. It actually referred to those that come from heaven to earth, stellar emissaries, tasked with, of course, helping young civilizations evolve before it was hijacked by Marduk. That was the task of Nibiru, okay? Now, over immense periods of galactic history, different factions emerged, as mentioned earlier, right, due to some infiltrations. And so some of these factions aligned with service to consciousness, and of course, others aligned with systems of hierarchy and control. The uncorrupted Lyran Syrian lineage remained aligned with the teachings of the Syrian High Council and the guardian principles of balance, freedom, and spiritual ascension. Now, Nibiru is said to have played a central role in this process. As a traveling guardian world linked to Sirius, where it was made, Nibiru served as the bridge through which these advanced lineages entered our solar system during key evolutionary windows. During ancient cycles, for example, Nibiru or Nibiru's emissaries are believed to have interacted with early human civilizations, introducing advanced sciences, astronomical knowledge, sacred geometry, architecture, agriculture, and of course, spiritual teachings designed to help humanity awaken gradually into higher awareness. But according to this perspective, the greatest gift that they carried was not the knowledge that they brought, but it was the genetics, the royal galactic blood. Now, the royal galactic blood is described as a refined energetic lineage encoded with heightened spiritual potential and multidimensional awareness. In esoteric teachings, this lineage was introduced into humanity through selective intermingling between the uncorrupted Lyran Syrian Anunnaki and early human populations, thus giving the origin of the original Israelites and the Magi Grail kings and queens. The purpose was the creation of a bridge species capable of eventually embodying higher consciousness while living in the material world. Now, many mystery traditions describe humanity as a hybrid civilization, carrying fragments of multiple stellar ancestries within our DNA. Well, among these lineages, the Syrian codes are regarded as the most important because they contained the templates associated with wisdom, intuition, heart consciousness, and spiritual sovereignty. According to these revelations, over time, much of this original knowledge became fragmented or distorted during periods of galactic conflict and, of course, interference from the Draco-aligned factions. Bloodlines that were once intended to preserve wisdom became corrupted through power struggles, conquest, and manipulation. Well, this led to the rise of the distorted royal systems on Earth that mirrored hierarchy rather than spiritual stewardship, right? Explaining the Cabal Illuminati bloodlines. Now, according to Ascension teachings and traditions, it is believed that the original Syrian codes were never fully lost. Instead, they remain dormant within humanity itself. And this idea forms the basis of many modern starseed teachings, the belief that millions of people alive today carry latent ancestral memories connected to Lyra, Sirius, and other ancient stellar civilizations. And so within this context, Earth's current awakening is about remembering something ancient. The return of Nibiru, therefore, symbolizes also the reactivation of these dormant lineages through the millions of starseeds that are here on the Earth today. So as Nibiru enters alignment with our solar system under the restored guidance of the Syrian High Council, it acts as an energetic catalyst for awakening the original human template encoded within the collective DNA of humanity. The royal blood is interpreted not as superior over others, but as the remembrance of humanity's divine origin and cosmic inheritance. And this is why many Ascension teachings describe the current era as the ending of the age of false kings and the return to the solar human, a fully awakened being capable of embodying both spirit and matter, which is the true meaning of Ascension, in harmony. Now, within this preserved secret revelation, the prophecy of the second son becomes deeply embedded with what's happening right now. The visible return of Nibiru represents the return of cosmic memory itself. The old sun symbolizes humanity's long descent into separation consciousness, while the second son represents the reawakening of the original Syrian blueprint hidden within humanity all along. And this is the reason why when Enki returned in 2022, right, saying that he is restoring the Holy Grail back to humanity, which is the key to immortality, I was the first one to call it BS. It is already within our dormant DNA. We don't need no technology from no returning Anunnaki to say, hey, if you guys accept me as your creator and worship me, I will restore you back to immortality, right? And of course, you guys know who he was using as his emissary. Anyways, let's continue here. Now, In this final stage of the cycle, guys, the descendants of Earth are believed to stand at a crossroads between two evolutionary paths. One that is rooted in fear, artificial control, and fragmentation, and the other rooted in remembrance, sovereignty, and reconnection with the greater galactic family. So, these teachings reflect a timeless human longing that is the hope that humanity carries within itself, a forgotten inheritance that is not only tied to the earth, but of course to the stars beyond our earth. Now, I hope you guys are really anchoring in these new frequencies. I hope you guys are doing the spiritual work as we are the inheritors of the galactic royal blood. All the star seeds are, all right? All of us, right? That galactic royal blood once ran through a particular lineage, but now millions of us have inherited it. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And once again, please type your questions in capital letters. I do want to welcome all 3,100 folks that are in the house. Thank you guys so much for being here. I also wanted to thank Susan K for her donation. And I will give some shout outs before I take Q&A. Oh, quick reminder, guys. I will not be going live this Saturday due to my conference this weekend in Sedona. So I won't be back till Monday for a White Hat Alliance report. Capiche? Capiche. All right. Let's continue here. All right. So who is in the house? 3,100 people. All right. Also, Angela is in the house. Seto, Falcon, Cassandra, as well as Wolfmother, Trinity, Jill Hunt, Diana77, William Ryan, Melissa Harper, Greg Maga, Sally Burleson, William Ryan, Jedi, Julie Aponte is in the house. Now I'm going to try to shout out to somebody new that I've never shouted out before. Let's see. Who is going to be my new subscriber that I will give a shout out to? If you're a new subscriber, give me a thumbs up and I'll give you a shout out. Come on, new subscribers, give me a thumbs up for a shout out. Okay, Robbie Footy is in the house. One more. Shout out to a new subscriber who is new recently. Joy, is it Pinetta is in the house? And Maggie McClaren is in the house, as well as Alwyn Der Bison. Some of you guys have some interesting names. And last but not least, Haynes Schillen. I hope I pronounced your name right, sister. Another case. Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys so much for being here once again. I wanted to also mention that I don't know if I'm being shadow bounded, or what is it called? Shadow bounded on YouTube. I know I'm shadow bounded on Instagram, but I don't know if I'm shadow bounded on YouTube. But in the events that I am, don't forget to always make sure you're subscribed, right? There are a few people that have reported that somehow something is unsubscribing them. And also don't forget to always hit the notification. All right, so that way you guys know when I'm going live. I think I'm being shadow banded. I am not sure, but let's just see. Okay, let's just make sure that you guys are always notified when I go live. All right, so now if you guys could please type your questions in capital letters, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, I'm going to start with a super chat. First and foremost, thank you, Carla, for your donation, as well as We Have Wings. Thank you for your donation. And your question is, these cycles sound pre-planned. They are pre-planned. It is just the way the cosmos operates. Cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. What do the cycles have to do with astrology? And who has orchestrated the cycles? Well, they have everything to do with astrology. Every time we enter a new house of the zodiac is because our solar system is traveling through the 12 houses of the 12 constellations. And of course, the way it was designed was by Prime Creator. Everything operates in cycles, my friends. There is no such thing as linear time. Everything is a cycle within a cycle within a greater cycle within a greater cycle. Simple as that. All right, next question. Thank you. Holy shit for your super chat. What a name. And also Jacob Shearer, thank you so much for your donation. Will we be able to move during the 3 days of darkness? I don't think so. I think at that point your bodies are going to be resting for 3 days. Tell us more about it. Well, again, this is happening as a result of 3 factors. Nibiru's return, our solar system fully immersed in the photon belt, and the transformation or metamorphosis of our sun into a white star. So it's going to be required that we rest for 3 days. There will be no electricity. Nothing's going to work. No satellite systems are going to work. Everything's going to shut down. In fact, and I didn't mention this in my report, but what I was told is that the Earth's rotation is going to stop, right, as the old electromagnetic field ceases to exist, and a new set of different types of electromagnetic fields take its place. It's going to take about 3 days for the Earth to then rotate the other way. Now, during that stasis period, there will be no death, but transformation into the new world age. And of course, transformation of our species into Homo galactus. Good question. I did a whole update on Iran 2 days ago during my Alliance Y Hat report. Make sure you guys watched that 2 days ago. In fact, I encourage all my new subscribers to watch all my recent presentations, right? Just to keep up to date. Ishmael, how is Nibiru connected to Three Eye Atlas? Well, Three Eye Atlas is what they call the Blue Shekinah. The Blue Shekinah always comes as a herald to the Red Shekinah, which is Nibiru. So they work together. And as mentioned, Three Eye Atlas has not left our solar system. It is cloaked, and it's still here, okay? Janice says, I could use 3 days of rest. I agree. What lineage originally carried the royal genetics is asking LM. We're talking about the Lyran Syrian Anunnaki through the lineage of Enlil, Zeus, Yahweh, Elion. I mean, he had so many names also. He was also known as Indra to the Indians of India. So Enlil, Zeus, Yahweh, whatever you want to call him, is the depository of the original sacred Magi Grail lineage. He's the one who deposited it to the earth, which led to the bloodline of Shem, Enoch, Methuselah, Shem, Abraham, King David, Solomon, Jesus, and the millions of their descendants today. And that explains why a lot of these Anunnaki, what do you call them, scholars, who believe the inverted tablets they always paint Enlil Zeus as the bad guy, when in essence it was the master geneticist, his brother, half-brother, let's just be real, Enki Poseidon, who was the great trickster, who corresponded to Yaldabaoth of the ancient Gnostic texts, who corresponded to the Demiurge. All right, let's continue. Will same-sex partners be no more in the 5D? Yes, I believe so. Because in the 5D, it is required for female and male energy to become a unit. It is only down here in the 3D that we have these genetic, I would have to say, anomalies. So Diana is saying, what a beautiful golden lion there behind me. Thank you, guys. Yeah, this is a lion with the crown symbolizing the Magi Grail bloodline that was deposited by Enlil, Sus, Yahweh, Elion, El Shaddai. I mean, he had so many names to the ancients. If you guys liked it. So quick reminder, guys, if you guys are attending, whether you are buying the ticket through my link, Rise of the Guardians Conference this weekend, or whether you pay at the door, make sure that you say you're there to see me so that I could get credit, okay? Thank you, guys. And again, I can't wait to meet some of you guys in person for those that are going to be attending this weekend. Why is GFL not intervening with chemtrails? Well, first of all, the Galactic Federation of Light is a compromised federation. I guess I have a lot of new subscribers that don't really know the truth about the infiltration that took place of the Galactic Federation back in 2018 to 2022. The defectors of the Galactic Federation that were not buying Anki's baits in joining the technocratic path line, or what we call technocratic timeline, reorganized as the Galactic Alliance. So now the good guys are the Galactic Alliance. See, and the thing, I've come to understand that there's still a lot of good people in our community that don't know that this infiltration took place a few years ago. They still think that when they're getting channeling information from galactic commanders, they're still calling it Galactic Federation, but it's really the Galactic Alliance. All right, let's continue. How does one know if they are part of the royal genetic lineage? I think if you go within yourself, for those that are avid meditators, grounding constantly, it is embedded within our genes. If you are part of the galactic royal blood, it is in you to want to adapt a spiritual practice. So if you are a spiritually awakened person who never judges, who lives in balance with nature, who has accepted fully themselves, who has integrated or is integrating with higher versions of themselves, then you are galactic royalty, because it is part of your DNA to want to become spiritual. Now, for those that are jumping late on this presentation, make sure you guys watch this from the beginning. I completely distinguish the difference between 10 Days of Darkness, Project Odin, White Hat Operation, to that of 3 Days of Darkness, Photon Felt Emergence, Second Sun Coming, and of course, 3 Days of Sleep. Thank you so much, Valentina, for your donation. Orma Warrior 2432, thank you so much for your donation. Your question. Hi, Ishmael. I voiced my opinion in your chat about how it's like a popularity contest in your chat and controlled, and one of your moderators told me I could leave if I don't like it. I support you, donated hundreds, and I got treated like this. Why? Well, I wasn't aware of that, sister. So for my moderators, if you guys could please be nice to the Galactic Jedis, I would prefer for you guys to only focus on getting rid of the trolls and, of course, NPCs that are just saying negative things. But if they're not saying negative things, guys, please don't put the Galactic Jedis on timeout or don't block them. Please. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that, moderators. I only gave you guys the tool to keep the chat clean from NPCs and, of course, haters, whatever you want to call it. What does the name Amira mean? I don't know. Is there any reason we live near a Stargate? Sedona does have a Stargate, yes. It's got multiple Stargates. When will chemtrails end? I don't know. Thank you so much, Nathan Taylor, for your donation. Will the weather stop raining? Don't want my basement to flood during the 3 days. I don't know, brother. I don't know if the weather's going to stop raining. Well, depending on where you're at, I don't know. John 963, thank you so much for your donation. Hi, Ish. If Nibiru is a guardian planet, how will it become our second sun from a planet? Well, because as our planet undergoes metamorphosis, Nibiru is also going to ignite into a sun, from what I hear. So that's what's going to happen. It's no longer going to be operating, or rather traveling in an elliptical orbit of 3,600 years. This is the last time it's going to do that. Now it's going to be fully stationed within our solar system as our second sun, based on today's transmission. That's how it's going to happen, John. How come I always wanted to be a healer? Well, you were always a healer. I'm sure in every lifetime you were a healer. So you are beginning to remember what you were good at. Will our animals sleep? Now, this is a question some of you guys might also be thinking. This is a good one. Will our animals sleep for those 3 days? If you don't know, let me know that too, please. I think all living things are going through this metamorphosis, this transformation. So based on that, I would say yes, absolutely. Right? All biological living things. Orvion, welcome. Thank you for your super chat. He says, can't wait for your next class. So much to share, seen so many things this week. Plus, remember when I was in front of the two suns. Thank you for sharing that, brother. Miri, thank you so much for your donation, sister. I appreciate that. All right, one more question, guys, as we are at the top of the 90-minute period. Is the 3 days of darkness before or after the trifurcation of timelines? I believe that the 3 days of darkness will be precipitating the trifurcation of timelines. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's presentation. And yeah, I'm excited to speak at the Rise of the Guardians conference. And as always, I would love to end this with a little prayer. One more time.
Dear Father and Mother God, we pray for all of the mothers out there for this upcoming Mother's Day, that the mothers and their families may be happy and may have blessings in their homes. I hope that we can all continue to support each other. Even after these lives, make sure to check up on how some of the people in our little group here are doing. Send each other messages, check up on each other. I wish that you all do everything that is required for you to ascend, and that includes meditation, sleep, mineral supplements, energy cleansing, connecting to Gaia. And just remember to rest as much as you can, drink plenty of water, and always call upon your angels for help and protection. I wish you all a great Mother's Day weekend, and may God bless your family. And remember to take care of each other and don't be strangers.
Hold your light, hold your frequency, and may the God Force be with you all, always. I will see you guys next Monday for an Alliance report.